It is interesting. You get way better when you stop playing, too. Forget about all the times when you struck out with the bases loaded and couldn't come through. I'm ecstatic to be here with you guys today. I know I'm going to see you guys coming through on a whole, get a chance to talk a little bit more personally. But I don't have anything prepared per se as a standard message. I just thought we'd have a very informal baseball talk. It's a great time. Playoffs are coming up. The Orioles in town are in contention for the first time. The Nationals certainly are a great story. It's fun to talk about the Red Sox a little bit too right now. Because they have a lot of stuff going on. But there's a lot of interesting stories in baseball. Or I'd be glad to take any questions that you have that you might be curious about. If not, I'll just leave.
I think, now what would you attribute the Orioles having a lot of success this year? Is it the manager? Is it the team? Is it a combination of both? I mean, I'm a long suck and roll fan, and this year is finally a lot of hope, and it looks like the team's fairly young and got a lot of distance.
Yeah, what would I attribute it to? Earl Weaver would say it's not the manager that wins the games, it's the players. But I would say in this particular case, Buck Showalter has come in and played a bigger role in the development of the organization. He's a good evaluator, and if you think back, he really built the nucleus for the Yankee dynasty. He went and he didn't stay around for the win. He went out to the Arizona Diamondbacks and then built that into a World Series champion, but he didn't stay around for that World Series champion. So I think the Orioles can only hope that he stays in one more year, gets us to the playoffs, and then leaves. So we can Buck's a good baseball guy. And the thing that concerns me about the Orioles a little bit is they've given up more runs than they've scored. Right. I mean, so that's not normally a recipe for a playoff contending team. But the interesting part about it is they win the one-run games, they win the close games, they win the extra inning games, and that's normally because the manager is putting those guys in the bullpen in the right position to win. And you gather a little momentum as you win those one-run games. They say momentum is something that's lacking in baseball, because a new starter can change the momentum each and every single day. But when you're starting to win one-run games and you're playing in the 8th inning with the game in doubt, where it's tied, it's good to have that confidence about winning. So the Orioles are right there. Last night they had a thrilling come-from-behind victory. Nate McLeod hit a home run to bring them back. So they seem to have some Oriole magic. And I thought that the depth of their pitching staff would start to be looked at a little bit closer. But Buck's changed a lot of guys out, and they've gotten some good starts from a lot of young guys that they didn't expect, in the beginning, and then they're gone. Now they're getting some good starts from young guys. So I think it's just a combination of a little momentum built, and it's very difficult in the American League East, as everyone knows. This is going to be a time when they're going to play the American League East, so they're going to beat each other up. But it's awful exciting going into September knowing you have a chance. And I think that extra wild card spot is really there was a lot of argument about, okay, you're watering down the playoff, are we going to be like the NBA and all that, more playoff teams, et cetera, et cetera. But last day of the season last year was one of the greatest baseball days. And I had to sit there in a hotel room in Atlanta. I was going down for TBS, and in case if there was playing games, I had to be prepared to go on the air in the studio to comment on those things. So I'm watching this last day unfold all by myself in a hotel room in Atlanta with no one to share it to. And I kept screaming and yelling in my room. But that's the kind of excitement that this extra wild card will create. It will go down to the wire. A lot more teams in September will be in consideration. And now the pennant races are going to be more exciting. There's a couple pennant races that are still open. But it's a huge thing to win your division and not risk being out in one game. So, I think this excitement will really generate sort of a sudden death feeling in baseball. I think we all like to watch the 7th game of any series. And I think that's really what's going to happen in baseball. So baseball's in a good place with that, their wild card system. Yes, sir.
So grew up watching you, and bottom of the 9th, 2 outs. Out of anybody you've ever played with, who do you want at the plate, other than yourself?
My job, I came through the clutch a number of times, and the real thing about coming through in the clutch is to try to relax yourself in that key moment. And it's very, very difficult to do. The more you want it, the less you do, if that's easy to understand. Eddie Murray, I think, was the guy I'd put at the plate. switch hitter. Nobody, there wasn't a matchup that really dominated Eddie, per se. And he always had the ability to punch a ball to left field, punch a ball to right field, didn't swing at bad pitches. So when I hit third in front of Eddie for most of those years, and the game situation started to get close, I would just try to think of myself, just let me get on base so that Eddie would have a chance to win it. And Eddie won it more times than not. So I think Eddie was probably the best clutch hitter I played with. Yes, sir.
Could you speak just anything to the Nationals, what you think about their year?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of so-called baseball experts would say they saw this coming, but I don't think that's true by any means. Last year, when they finished up pretty strong, I thought they had the nucleus of a pretty good club, and I thought that they could compete for the wild card position. But then they went out and made a couple of key pitching changes or pickups. Gio Gonzalez has turned out to be just a dominant #1 type guy going over to the National League. And Edwin Jackson, he's been jumped around a lot of teams. I mean, he throws 98 miles an hour, 97 miles an hour. He's got great stuff. So when you pick him up as that swing guy or the 4th or 5th starter, your depth of your starting staff goes way up. Strasburg is the real deal. And I don't know how they're going to manage this process down the stretch. They're going to say, okay, because of Tommy John, here's the number of innings you have, and we're going to shut you down, and we'll go to the playoffs without you. Because he's the exact type of pitcher you need to win in the playoffs. A power pitching guy that can take a strikeout into his own hands to get out of an inning. And it's hard to score runs, period, in the postseason. But Strasburg's the one you want to ride. And that's going to be an interesting decision down the stretch. But they're a really good ball club. And Bryce Harper he's the real deal. I mean, he came on strong when he first got here. And then he got humbled a bit. And then now he's kind of coming back again. But he's got real power. Real upside, real potential, and he plays the game really, really hard. So Washington has done some nice things down there, and I'd be really tempted to go to Strasburg and say, okay, what do you think? Take me off, what do you think? And then leave the decision up to him.